Whew. Okay. I've been thinking about this for the past few months, and the rumors been popping up on my Twitter account. There's been so many speculations. ESPN, TSN, Sportsnet, all those major sports network, they've been talking about whether or not if the Toronto Raptors should look to trade Kyle Lowry by the trade deadline, which will happen, I believe, March the 19th. I believe is when the NBA Trade Deadline is due up. So there's been some talk, and there's been so many stuff popping about. The Heat, the Clippers, and the Sixers are interested in trading for Kyle Lowry as they need a point guard to make that playoff push and contend for the NBA championship after what the Brooklyn Nets have done over the past few months by acquiring James Harden and Blake Griffin to team up with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. The Clippers are still a strong team. Utah's having the best record in the NBA. The Lakers, they're hoping to repeat as NBA championship. So I've been thinking about this, and I asked myself if the Toronto Raptors should trade Kyle Lowry by the trade deadline. And before I give you guys my thoughts, I just want to say, when I heard that Kyle Lowry got traded to the Raptors, I believe it was during the 2012 NBA draft, I was stoked about it because I knew that Kyle Lowry was going to be a huge upgrade at the point guard position, because remember, the Raptors point guard back then was Jose Calderon, and even though during Lowry's first year with the Raptors, he shared that role with Jose Calderon. In fact, during the last 5 games of a Titans game, we seen Lowry and Calderon playing together as they want some more ball handlers on the court during crunch time. And now that they have traded Calderon to the Memphis Grizzlies for Rudy Gay during the 2013 season, I knew that the Raptors have a lot of faith in Kyle Lowry as being the starting point guard for the future. And even though back then the Raptors during 2013 were struggling, there's been some talk about the Raptors should tank for Andrew Wiggins, so therefore Rudy Gay got traded to Sacramento, and there's been some talk about Kyle Lowry potentially going to the New York Knicks during that season. But let me tell you something: since that Rudy Gay trade happened, I was relieved that they didn't not trade Kyle Lowry, because they had arguably one of the best turnarounds during that second half of the 2013-2014 season. And let's not forget, the Raptors have won, I believe, 48 games at that time, which was their franchise record, and DeMar DeRozan made it to his first All-Star game for the 2014 festivities. But you can make an argument that Kyle Lowry should have had some consideration being named as an All-Star for 2014. And then he got named as an All-Star in 2015 as a starter. And when the Raptors hosted the All-Star game in 2016, I knew that I had to get Kyle Lowry's All-Star game jersey. I mean, it was probably the best thing that I ever bought back then. And, when you look at Kyle Lowry, even though he may not be the most talented or the most flashiest basketball player I've seen, but he is one of the most intelligent, the most crafty, the most gutsy, but more importantly, he has been the best leader that the Toronto Raptors had for a very long time. Yes, he's putting up great points. Yes, he's been putting up great assist numbers as he gets his teammates involved. And yes, he's one of the best three-point shooters that the Raptors have had over the past decade. And yes, he's a great defender. And the most thing that I really am impressed is how much he sacrificed his body to take offensive fouls. And boy, I mean, And everybody's been asking myself, who's been the greatest Raptor of all time? A lot of people may say it was Vince. A lot of people may think it's DeMar DeRozan. A lot of people think it may be Chris Bosh or Kawhi Leonard when he helped us win that NBA championship that one season 2 years ago. But let me tell you something. Without Kyle Lowry, I do not think that the Raptors could make that tremendous run over the past 7 years, as the Raptors have been a playoff team since 2014, and a lot of that has to do with number 7, Kyle Lowry. He has been the best thing that could ever happen to that franchise, and with all the talk about him potentially be a trade target, he just sold his $5.3 million mansion in Toronto, which is I think is about like around Bayview area, which is pretty much north of Toronto. I gotta say, with all the trade speculation surrounding with Kyle Lowry, I don't think that the Raptors should look to move arguably the greatest franchise player of all time. And let me tell you why. Because if you look at Kyle Lowry, he owns about like $30 million a year. He's going to be a free agent at the end of this season. And yes, I still think that you could get some sort of package deal for him, like a young player or draft picks coming forward. But if you're Masai Ujiri, if you're Bobby Rester, and if you're the entire Raptors organization, why in the hell would you be trading your arguably the greatest Raptor of all time? If I were Masai Ujiri, I would sit down with Kyle Lowry and I would ask Kyle Lowry what he wants to do. Does he want to go to a contending team? Go for it. Does he want to retire as a Raptor? He absolutely should. Now, I've been watching a segment on Tim's the Friends, formerly known as Tim has said. As we remember, Sid Cicero had left Tim and Sid to join CPE. I think it was the Breakfast Television show. And said, "I'll miss you, buddy. You've been a fun to watch, and I really enjoy watching your segment with Tim over the past 5 years." But let me tell you something. After hearing what Michael Grange said, he doesn't think that there's a chance that the Raptors are going to move Kyle Lowry, and I think it's highly unlikely that that's going to happen. To me, I think if I'm Kyle Lowry, and he admitted during today's media conference that he has no intention of leaving the Raptors. And I believe every single word of him. And, he deserves to get whatever he wants because he has been the best damn thing that the Raptors have had over the past decade. I mean, I've been following the Raptors since I was 7 years old, the same year that the Raptors became an expansion team in Canada with the Vancouver Grizzlies in 1995. And I've been seeing the highs, I've been seeing the lows. They were a bad team, they were good, and they were bad again, they were good again. Now they're back to their mediocre selves. But let me tell you something. Without Kyle Lowry, I don't think they will win the NBA championship in 2019. I'm sorry. So, my thoughts as to whether or not if the Toronto Raptors should trade Kyle Lowry, no, they should not. I think they should try to keep him. The Raptors do have the 8th spot, and, I think they could potentially make some move by adding a little bit more depth behind the starting 5, as their bench has been a weak spot all season long. They need a center. They need some more flexibility for guys coming off the bench. You know, they need sharp shooters. They need more consistent production from their bench. Now, it wouldn't surprise me as well if they decide to stay pat and go what they have. As we have seen in the past, you know, Masai Ujiri and Bobby Wrestler, they had a tendency to stay pat and see how it goes. And who knows, if Kyle Lowry wants to stay with the Raptors for one more year, then sign him to a 1 year extension. If he wants to go to a contending team, then let's not worry about that. I do believe that Kyle Lowry has every right to do whatever he wants to do for himself as well as for his family. I mean, he has been a huge part of the Toronto community. I think he has like the assist program where he helps, you know, the schools, hospitals, even, you know, homeless people. I mean, giving out turkey dinners on Thanksgiving. I mean, Kyle Lowry has been the best thing that could ever happen to this franchise, and I think he has absolutely every single right to do whatever he wants. If he wants to contend for another team next year, I would not be upset about that. If he wants to stay and retire as a Raptor, I would not be surprised as well. But all I gotta say is, Kyle Lowry, thank you so much for your contribution, for what you've done. I hope you finish strong with the Raptors this season, and whatever you do for your future, I just want to wish you the best of luck. So that's going to be it for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my video on my thoughts on Kyle Lowry potentially being a trade target. I don't think they should trade him, to be honest with you. So if you have any thoughts as to whether or not if Kyle Lowry is the greatest Raptor of all time and what the Raptors should do with Kyle Lowry's future, you could write the comments down below, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Thanks, you guys, and I hope you enjoy.